Welcome to Imola, the spiritual home of Ferrari. But you don't need me to tell you that. Just look at the red-clad Tifosi in the grandstands. They're ready. Are you ready? For the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Daniel lines up on pole position. And starting next to them is George Russell. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Bottas, Albon, Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton, Leclerc, Norris, Sainz, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Ocon, Hülkenberg, Sargent, Stroll, Joe, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, we're monitoring somewhere on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power. Okay, we're looking at some gearbox wear, so try to keep the number of shifts to a minimum, please. Great work, that's a new fastest lap of the race. Russell has just put up the fastest lap of the race so far. First position, front of the pack. Russell behind. Okay, gap to the car behind. 1.0 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Okay, Lando's out of the race. Yellow flag. Okay, clear. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, car behind trailing us, 0.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Okay, they've got 4 laps on their tyres. We think they've got one more stop. And the time last lap was a 1:21.4. Okay, our best lap so far is a 1:20.5. 20th place. Time last lap was a 1:21.6. approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time. Nice move, keep going. Safety car, no overtaking, reduce your pace. Keep your delta number positive as we form up. Okay mate, we might need to look at a new race strategy after that. I've got some options for you, so go and check your MFD. Car behind's just boxed for mediums. Car behind on the medium tyre now. You're approaching the safety car. You're leading, so don't pass it. Stay behind the safety car. Okay, the safety car's coming in this lap. We'll be pacing the field in sector 3. Make sure to respect the delta until the safety car's into the pit lane. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Gap to the car in front is 21.3 seconds. DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled. A mechanical issue means you've lost one of the gears, I'm afraid. Say again, you have lost access to one of the gears. Okay, bad news on the gearbox, I'm afraid. The team are trying everything they can think of, but they're not optimistic. Just keep at it, do your best, that's all we can ask. Okay, we think the underbody's incurred some slight damage, but nothing too serious at the moment, just be careful. Okay, so the gap to the car ahead, 11.3 seconds. Okay, that's us with 5 laps of fuel remaining, 5 laps of fuel left. Okay, Mark here, you're causing unnecessary wear to your transmission. Try to take it easy or we're going to risk losing it. Okay, we think the underbody's incurred some slight damage, but nothing too serious at the moment, just be careful. Final lap, push, push. got enough fuel for 3 more laps. All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
They take the checkered flag then here in Imola in what has been another outstanding Grand Prix. Tell me, Ant, how do they manage to achieve this win?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
It's time to present the top drivers with their trophies for today's Grand Prix. And there are a lot of people in the paddock very happy with this result. It's Aston Martin on the top step. And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. That's a positive result for George Russell, who further solidifies his position at the top of the standings. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Oscar Piastri gets my vote today.
Let's move on to the constructors. Aston Martin